Hey guys, and welcome on into today's college basketball pick video play for Monday, November 13th, 2017. To get all of our college basketball picks for today's action, you can check those out over at stumpthespread.com, link down in the video description, and be sure to click that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. So heading into Monday's action, a ton of games on the board today to choose from. We're going to go here for this video talking about the Western Michigan Broncos versus the South Carolina Gamecocks and give our take on who we think has the better betting value here against the spread. So the road team, Western Michigan, coming into this one as about 10.5 to 11-point underdogs. Not getting a whole lot of respect here from Vegas for a Western Michigan team that certainly has some elevated expectations coming into the year. Western Michigan showed some good signs down the stretch of last year. They bring back a lot of guys, a lot of key players, and as a result, the Broncos are a popular pick to go on to win the MAC this year. They still have to prove themselves. They weren't able to obviously win the MAC last year. This is more expectations based on the improvements that we saw from the Broncos towards the end of last year, and also the fact that obviously they bring back a lot of important pieces, which is, of course, a very important thing when putting together these preseason rankings for all these different conferences. Western Michigan, in their opener, is more of a tune-up game against a lower division opponent. They went on to beat Siena Heights by a final of 103-72, and the Broncos, they like to play at a fast pace. They scored 47 points in the first half, 56 points in the second half against Siena Heights, and that was with spreading the minutes around quite liberally, not having their starters in for a ton of time. The most time that anyone got was Thomas Wilder, who logged 23 minutes. He's the top player here for the Broncos. He has the tools to maybe even be the MAC player of the year when all is said and done. He was efficient with his offensive game in the opener. He didn't jack up a bunch of shots. He went on to score 16 points on 6 of 10 shooting from the floor. Probably going to need to be featured a bit more today if the Broncos are going to have a chance to maybe go on to even pick up this upset here on the road. But we feel like this Western Michigan group is in a good position to have a lot of success this year and maybe even surprise some people with what they're able to do. And that can start here today with this contest against an SEC opponent on the road. So South Carolina, they were one of my favorite teams to watch last year. I really liked the competitiveness that this unit had. A lot of veteran guys. You don't necessarily always see that in the college game anymore, where you have a situation where a team continues to build over the years, and then when all of the best players become upperclassmen, that's when a team's able to make that deep run. A lot more what we're getting nowadays is these super teams that are loaded up with underclassmen that tend to make these deep runs in March Madness. But finally, we got more of a situation with South Carolina last year, a team that came out of nowhere just based on their talent level, obviously, but also being an older veteran group, relying on their moxie, their effort level. They were cool under pressure, and it was just really fun to see that a team that doesn't necessarily get all of the highest level recruits by any means was able to make a significant dent in that postseason play. But the Gamecocks, they lost a lot of those guys. Obviously, they moved on to professional ball, expiring their eligibility. And South Carolina, as a result, they're not expected to have as much success this year. Probably going to be more of a middling team in the SEC, but they impressed in their opener, certainly doing a lot better than many expected. They opened on the road against Wofford, and you got to give a lot of respect to South Carolina for choosing that as their opener. Usually, these high major teams, they like to get things open and start it off on the right foot on their home court against either lower division opponents or very weak level Division I competition. But South Carolina said, you know what? We're going to open up things. We're going to go on the road against a respectable Wofford squad that has veteran players of their own, and they played extremely well, including defensively, especially as they went on to win that one by a final of 73-52. They limited Wofford to just 34.7% shooting from the floor. Very strong defensive performance there from the Gamecocks. They put in great effort on that end of the court, and it'll be interesting to see how that defense translates over to today's home matchup against a Western Michigan offense that has a much higher ceiling than Wofford does. Offensively, in their opener, South Carolina, they didn't have one guy that really stood out above the rest. They shared the ball. It wasn't about, I need to get my own and fill up the stat sheet. They had 2 starters in double figures, 2 bench guys in double figures, and the starters logged about 20 to 25 minutes with the bench, actually getting quite a few minutes as well. This is a team that goes about 9 deep. So they should be fresh, certainly, coming to this one. Obviously, it's still a very early point in the year, and the fact that the starters didn't have to exert themselves overly so to get that win on the road against Wilford. So we're really excited to see how this one shakes out. We love seeing these matchups during the non-conference that you don't typically see. You have a high-tier MAC team this year going against what's probably going to be more of a middling SEC opponent. And as a result, we do expect this to be a pretty competitive matchup. The Broncos, they have a high ceiling on the offensive side of the ball. Thomas Wilder might be the best player on the court here today. He probably will be, and he's on the team that is coming in as rather significant underdogs. We feel like the Broncos can be a factor here today, keep things close and competitive even on the road as they go on to cover this 10.5 to 11-point spread. So that's today's pick, guys, siding with Western Michigan, giving the points. And again, to get all of our college basketball plays for today's action, you can check those out over at stumpthespread.com, linked in the video description. And be sure to click that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. Thanks for stopping on in, and we hope to see you guys in future videos. Bye.